and welcome to the Full of Football podcast. I'm Austin Thomas.
I'm Cora Westbrook.
And today we're going to be getting into episode 11. So we passed the decade mark last episode. Now we're on to episode 11. We're going to be talking about what we think is going to happen in week 13 and also take a look over some of the big news and injuries from last week and basically make a bunch of predictions. So make sure to stay tuned for all of that and more in this episode of the Full of Football podcast. But without further ado, let's get into the injury report. All right, so for the injury report, first off, we have Dante Jackson, who's now on IR with a groin injury. Now, Dante Jackson, he's been pretty good throughout the season. How do you think this impacts the Panthers?
Man, the Panthers right now haven't been doing too hot.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. They have not been doing too hot. So this is really going to impact them. I mean, with Cam
with how bad Cam did last week, oh man, they need all the help they can get. So
yes, they do. So with him out, I feel like they're not going to
Is Stephon Gilmore, is he playing this week?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, also, along with that, Christian McCaffrey is going to be out for the rest of the season with an ankle injury. Another big blow to the Panthers, but they do have Chuba Hubbard.
They do.
Chuba Hubbard? I don't know.
Something like that. But, I mean, Christian McCaffrey, he's prone to injury all the time.
Yeah.
It's no surprise there, to be honest.
They have spent most of the season without him anyway, so it's not really that big of a change with them. So kind of like half their games, actually. Not most of the season. So like half their games, and half those games they lost, so.
Well.
So they're not very good without him. They kind of need him, but, having those two guys out for the next couple weeks, McCaffrey the rest of the seseason.
It's not looking too good for the Panthers.
Those playoff chances just took a huge dip.
Yeah, I mean, they started off 3-0?
I think 3-0. Yeah, it was 3-0. I was going to say 4-0. It wasn't 4-0.
They took a blow.
Yes, they did. They definitely did. I was kind of expecting that for the Bengals, not as much the Panthers earlier on in the season. When they both started off so hot, it was like I kind of feel like the Panthers were going to continue that, but it was the Bengals that didn't win.
Same for kind of the Broncos. They started.
Well, the Broncos are still
They're still but
yeah.
They started off 3-0.
I think the Broncos are better than the Panthers. Also, they had a light
Definitely.
schedule, whereas the Panthers had at least an intermediate schedule.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't, So, anyway, next injury, we have, kind of injuries. We have a bunch of kind of injuries here. All from the Cowboys here.
Gosh.
Tristan Hill, the defensive guy, he was suspended 2 games for fighting with the Raiders. You saw that. I mean, I was watching that game with my family, and all of a sudden I look up and I see punches being thrown, and I was so confused.
I was watching that game on Thanksgiving, and a ref got like a bloody chin.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was a great game. It was a
good game. Yeah, because he lost. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, next thing here, Amari Cooper. He is now doubtful for the upcoming game because he has COVID. Now, you were expecting, he was obviously out 10 games because he's unvaccinated, but he's still experiencing symptoms at this point.
Yep.
So his status for the upcoming game is still unknown, so that could be a big blow to the team. Do you think that they're going to be able to survive without Amari Cooper, or do you think he really affects how close this game is going to be?
I mean, honestly, we're playing the Saints. So it's going to be a good matchup, with Amari Cooper out. I don't know if CeeDee Lamb's coming back yet.
I think he's coming out of concussion.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He got a concussion against the Chiefs.
I've heard he was questionable, so he's not doubtful, he's questionable.
Yeah, he's questionable right now.
So I expect to see CeeDee play.
Yeah, I think CeeDee will play, but with Amari Cooper out, I mean, we haven't had CeeDee and Amari for last game, and then
you've done okay. You've scored still. I mean, could have been better, but you still scored. You still got those points up. But definitely Michael Gallup could see huge workload. But if CeeDee comes back, I think that receiver corps will be fine with Cedric Wilson. He's been doing okay throughout their absences, and he'll definitely be able to take over that third option if CeeDee is able to come back. If he doesn't, I don't know if Cedric Wilson can handle the second option as well as you would like. So you might have some struggles, but I think even without Amari Cooper, as long as you have CeeDee Lamb back, you're not going to be in that big of trouble.
Yeah, Michael Gallup, he's just been great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he came back off of he had some strain or calf strain, something like that. He came back and he was great. So.
Yeah, I mean, everyone expects that of Cowboys receivers. They're all pretty good, so.
Yeah, pretty solid.
Yeah. But talking about the Cowboys again, Mike McCarthy, probably talking with Aaron Rodgers or something, I don't know. He is now out for the game with COVID.
Jeez.
So that COVID bug kind of going around there. So Mike McCarthy, the best time management coach in the league, He's going to be out.
That, I feel like, is going to be a big blow to the Cowboys. Just because, I mean, who's going to be our head coach now?
I don't know, somebody who wants to solidify their position in the organization and wants to prove that they're a good coach. I always think, whenever this happens, it's good for 1 week. I think it's good for 1 week throughout the entire season because you have that guy, you have that one backup coach, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, someone like that, who steps up and they're like, I want to prove myself that I can be an NFL head coach.
Yeah.
And they'll step up and they'll throw everything they have at that game, and then it'll usually work pretty well. I think usually if you have like one game like that throughout the season, it's okay. Unless you have like an all-time coach like Andy Reid or someone of that caliber who, you know, it really would be a blow for, because these guys, they don't get many chances, and so you want to prove yourself. And I think in this case, it's a big. Do you know exactly who's going to be coaching?
I think I would believe it would be Kellen Moore because I feel like we're probably going to lose him next year, and he needs to prove himself because he's probably going to get a head coach job somewhere because of how good he's been doing with like offensive coordinating. So it's just like
they said that with Eric Bieniemy last year.
They did.
For the Chiefs.
They did.
And look where he's at right now.
Yep.
Still on the Chiefs.
Yep.
So, and he's still doing good.
Yep.
Recently. Start of the season. I mean, I think start of the season for the Chiefs, that was more like Mahomes, you know, but I think he's definitely picked it up here. Anyway, let's move on to the Vikings here. Dalvin Cook, he's going to be out 2 weeks with a shoulder injury at least. So that is going to be a tough blow for the Vikings. Although, again, they have a good backup running back with Alexander Madison, so it's not that big of a deal. They're still going to lose. I mean, they're still going to continue on.
It's only because the picks that you're saying that. Jeez.
Well, so this is a big blow for that offense because they without Dalvin Cook, teams aren't as worried about the run, so they're not gonna, you know, play action isn't gonna work as well. Other things like that, you don't have that guy that can get you out of those situations. Like 3rd and 3, is Alexander Madison really gonna get you that first down?
Yeah.
I mean, he could, but especially when you get to places like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, that's when it starts becoming an option because. If you're 3rd and 5, there's no way you're running the ball with Alexander Madison, and teams don't need to defend against that. But if you're 3rd and 5 with Dalvin Cook, well, that's a different story. You might start putting an extra guy up there on the defensive line, have a spy or something right there to stop him. But without Dalvin Cook, that's definitely going to run their offense a little bit differently. So going to be something that Kirk Cousins going to have to work around.
I think the Lions should be scared. I mean, they might get one this week though. I mean. Looking at their schedule, I think next week they're playing whoever they're playing. But I was looking at their schedule earlier today, and I was like, well, they have all these hard teams, and the most likable one that they're going to win is against Minnesota. Either that or the Falcons.
Oh, I see. The Falcons are a lot easier than the Vikings.
Definitely.
I'm sorry. That's a lot easier of a win. Vikings have Kirk Cousins. They have a good offense.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons have Kyle Pitts, Matt Ryan. Oh, Cordell Patterson. They have Cordell Patterson. I'm trying to name as many guys as I can.
Yeah, it's...
Mike Davis, Russell Gage. Is Hayden Hurst still on that
team? Man, I do not pay attention.
I don't think I can name a single defensive player on that team, though.
Yeah. That's...
Foyekadi Aluakan.
What?
Aluakan, I know his name. Foyesade Aluakan, right? Foyesade. Yes, Foyesade Aluakan. I know that guy.
54 tackles this season.
Yeah.
2 sacks. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that guy. He's good.
Yeah, it's pretty
ish. Oh, and AJ Terrell too. My football knowledge is pretty good. If I can name that many Falcons players.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I just gotta say, pat on the back. I watch way too much football.
Yep.
And at the same time, way too little. Next injuries here, similar to similar to the Cowboys, we got a few injuries here for one team. We have the 49ers.
Ooh.
They have a big man, Fred Warner. He is going to be doubtful with a hamstring injury. That is a tough blow for the Niners. He's best middle linebacker in the league, arguably. I mean, I would say so. I think he's the best middle linebacker, but again, it's arguable between other guys like Eric Kendricks, other guys.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that.
I mean, I see Fred Warner as the best middle linebacker in the league. again, that's a big blow no matter if you think he is or not. That team lost a huge part of defending that medium pass over the middle. And, some of the pass rush that he could get, not bad either. He's a great guy all around, and seeing him doubtful with this, that's going to be a huge blow. But another huge blow, probably their second best guy on the team, Deebo Samuel, is also doubtful with a groin injury he suffered late in the game. And, if they lose both of them for this game, that 49ers team looks completely different.
They're going to hurt, I feel like.
Because those are two top-tier players right there. Deebo Samuel's been one of the best wide receivers / running backs, I guess. Do you consider running back?
Yeah.
In the league. But either way, it's like he's been such a huge part to this offense. Losing him, it's basically going to be Elijah Mitchell and Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, I think that's
Brandon Ayuk.
Maybe. Ooh.
Oh, do they have Nick? They have Nick Bosa. They have Nick Bosa. He's good.
They do, but they're playing the Seahawks this week.
So you don't really need that much.
You don't. It is a division game.
But probably the biggest blow here, Trey Sermon, the one that has gotten so much work this season, is actually being considered for short-term IR with his high ankle sprain. Now he's kind of recovered from it, but they're still allowed to put him on the short-term IR. He is able to play, so if they wanted to, he could play this week. But because he hasn't been of much use to the team at all this season, they're thinking about putting him on that IR, clearing up a spot for someone else.
I think that's a good decision.
Yeah.
I wouldn't argue with that one.
That seems like good management right there.
Yeah.
That was from Kyle Shanahan said that. He said most likely he's going to be put on short-term IR. Again, we'll have to see what happens there. But he was a rookie. What round was he? Third round? Third round pick?
Third round, yeah.
Third round. But Eli Mitchell from the 6th round, he's really been the guy that's been making all the headlines here. So that's kind of big for them. But outside of them, we got the Browns here now. Jack Conklin, he is going to be out for the season with a torn patellar tendon. I don't even know where that is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Let's look up an image real quick. I'll look it up. Patellar tendon.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the patellar tendon it looks like in the knee. Looks kind of painful. Although there are so many tendons in the knee that it's like, really?
That's, whoa. Jeez.
Either way, that's going to be tough for him, and hopefully he can come back from that. Jack Conklin, one of the good offensive tackles in the league, so missing him is going to be a huge part because that Browns run. The Browns' running game goes through their offensive line. It's the offensive line that creates such good. Now, I'm not saying that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt aren't good themselves. They are.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that because of that offensive line, they are superstars. If it weren't for that offensive line, it wouldn't work nearly as good as it does. Yeah. And they would definitely have to be relying on Baker Mayfield, which we all know they don't want to do. So it's tough to lose a guy like that. We hope that he can come back next season. But again, that's something we'll have to see. That's got a lot of time to heal up. Next guys talking about healing up, Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins are both hopeful to return this week from their ankle injury and hamstring injury, which is, pretty big news for them.
Good for the Cardinals.
Then again, they said that 2 weeks ago, so.
Yeah.
So you never know what could happen.
Yeah, it could be good for the Bears, but also
the Bears.
Could be bad for the Bears.
So if they do play, do you think they'd be limited at all? Do you think that would play into the game?
Man, I don't know how those two could even be limited. They're so big plays and all this different stuff. Those two, there's no way they're gonna be limited. They're gonna go all out.
Well, talk about Kyler here. Kyler, he's coming back from an ankle injury. And you're going to ask him to run around outside of the pocket, taking hits? I don't know. I feel like they played a little bit safer with Kyler Murray, even if he's out full health. Even if he's out full health, they're going to play it a little more limited for him, especially with scrambling, because they don't want him to take hits and re-aggravate that ankle, because that is very likely to happen if you do that, especially with a running quarterback. Now, he can slide, so I'm not expecting it to be completely gone, but I am expecting it to be a little less, especially with that Bears defensive unit, which isn't bad. Their offense is bad, but the defense isn't. And so that's something that you're going to have to watch out for with the Cardinals, because while the Cardinals do have an electric offense, it's something whenever you've got 2 injured players coming back for the first week, you're going to have to want to watch that. So
yeah. I mean, Kyler Murray, they got to save him for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to save both those players for the playoffs. You don't want to get him re-injured or anything that could ruin your chances of having a starting quarterback in the playoffs.
What's their record? Is it 9-2?
9-2, yeah.
9-2? Okay. So they basically clinched. I mean, at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to win, like, what, 1 game, and then you've made... Because you're making the playoffs if you're 10-7.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of at right now.
You're making the playoffs if you're 11-6.
Yeah.
So basically, you have to go, what, 2-6, 2-4 to end out the season, and then you're fine? Or
Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys made the playoffs 2 years ago, and it was like 8-8, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, this is the NFC West we're talking about, so probably not. You're probably not going to win the division with that. But you could make the wild card game with probably 10 wins. So, I mean, really, they only need to win, like, 1 more game to clinch.
I mean, right now, they're just playing for seeding. They want the number 1 seed.
You obviously want the number 1 seed, and that is important, but more important is having Kyler Murray for that game. Because by that time, that bye week is not going to be useful for him to heal, because he's going to be healed by that point, unless you re-aggravate it, in which case the rest of that season is in a lot of danger. So, last injury here, we have Dan Arnold. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks with a sprained MCL. Now this, I mean, it's not that big of a blow. It's the Jaguars, so who really cares?
Who could hurt the Jaguars?
I mean, Dan Arnold has been good for the Jaguars. He hasn't been bad. He's caught the football when it's thrown to him. Yeah. He's gotten a couple targets. He's been a part of the offense. So they're gonna have to change it to somebody else. But he's not like a superstar caliber player that is really gonna affect them. I mean, they suck anyway, so who really cares? But either way, yep, that is going to end out our injury report here. So let's get on into new news. All right, starting off new news, we have Juwan Jennings. He has been said that he is going to take over as the number 2 wide receiver in San Francisco over Brandon Ayuk.
Wow.
Pretty big here.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I would say so. Do you think he's gonna, get a consistent workload maybe? Maybe consistent targets? You think so? Or do you think
that's kind of a tough question, just because, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen him play a lot. I don't really know much.
Personally, I haven't either, but last week he did catch that 1 touchdown, had 2 receptions, so again, that wasn't a big game, but coming out and saying that he's going to be the number 2 wide receiver, clear cut like this early on after the week says that, I mean, he's been showing something.
Obviously, they've seen enough.
They've seen
what they want, so they're gonna just put him at number 2.
Although they could have also just not seen what they wanted from Brandon Ayuk.
That is a good point.
So you never know. But who else is on that team? Wide receivers. There's somebody else. Let's see. 49ers wide receivers. There's some guy. Sanu and James. Mohamed Sanu's on the team?
Is he really?
Is he? I don't know. Richie James, though, is the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking he might step up over Brandon Ayuk. And, Mohamed Sanu is on the Niners. Who would have known?
Wow.
But yeah, so either way, Juwan Jennings going to be the number 2 wide receiver there. So that's something to take notice of. Maybe he's going to start to become, a more well-known name.
Yeah. Or,
there's a chance that he kind of fails the same way as all the rest of the wide receivers in San Francisco do. Because Jimmy Garoppolo is your quarterback.
You can't do much there. I mean, have you heard the conspiracy where, like, when Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady were on the same team, they were both on the Patriots, Bill Belichick wanted to trade Tom Brady to another team and have Jimmy Garoppolo as their starting quarterback. Have you heard that before?
I have not. No.
Okay.
Actually, I do think. I do think I've heard that before.
And then like Bill Belichick and their owner like fought about it, and then he was like, "No, we're keeping Tom Brady." Blah blah blah. Like, I don't know. I remember hearing something about that a while ago when they were both on the Patriots.
When is Tom Brady gonna retire?
This is his 22nd year in the NFL.
how many years is he gonna? How many more years? Is it gonna be 2040? Is he
Oh,
still gonna be
man.
here in 2040?
I don't know. He probably
We're gonna be middle-aged, in midlife crisis, probably switching jobs. No, I'm kidding.
My question is,
I'm gonna be working in insurance.
the Patriots starting quarterback right now, is he seriously that good? Or is it just the Patriots quarterback's coach?
Well, Jarrett Stidham is pretty good, so I would say so.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think Mac Jones is very similar in play style to Tom Brady.
Mac Jones.
I find he fits the same mold as Tom Brady.
He does.
And again, Tom Brady was helped tremendously by his team.
Yeah.
That is undisputable. He
Yeah.
was. He is a good quarterback, and I will give him that. He is a good quarterback, but he isn't, solely because of his talent that they won.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a similar situation to Mac Jones. I'm not saying Mac Jones is going to be as good as Tom Brady, but I'm saying that he can succeed and his play set is fit well with the guys around him. He has the good offensive line, he has the good run game with him,
Yeah.
and then he's free to do what he needs to do on the offensive side without feeling the pressure of having to do it.
I mean, with the stat report, he's got a 70% completed percentage. So, I mean, that for a rookie, that's crazy.
But when you think about it, when you think about the Patriots, you don't think of deep plays. You don't,
Yeah, that's
unless
true.
of course you're thinking of Jacoby Myers throwing it. It's not going to be a deep play
Yeah.
because Jacoby Myers is their only deep threat quarterback. Apparently, that's the only deep plays I've ever seen when watching a Patriots game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's up to 20 yards is like their limit. It's like they say, you know what? Can't throw it past 20 yards. If you throw it past 20 yards, you're getting fined $5,000 or something. And it's like when you're a rookie quarterback, you're like, oh, $5,000. Oh no.
Oh,
if you're
no.
Tom Brady, then you're like, yeah, whatever. It's a pick. Who cares? But when it comes to rookies, they're not gonna try and throw it unless they see a really wide open, which I haven't seen much of from Mac Jones. He's done a little. He has done a little, and again, that's similar mold to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Not quite as good. I mean, you never know. He could be. I hope not. But
hey, the Patriots
if he
seem
wants
to
to-
always just be good.
that's the Patriots.
Jeez.
But next new news we have here: Pete Carroll sucks. But yeah, so Pete Carroll of the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know if you guys watched that game last night because I absolutely did not. I knew that game was going to suck before it started, and there was a Chicago Bulls game going on at the time.
Oh,
so,
really?
yeah.
Interesting.
Had to watch the Bulls.
So basically what happened in the last minute, Seahawks drove all the way down the field, got a wide open touchdown. I don't know the wide receiver's name, but caught it, touchdown.
Probably could look it up real quick.
And then they went for two, but like what Russell Wilson does, he throws a pick in the end zone. So,
Goal line!
Not really a surprise there. I mean, I wish they would have gotten the 2-point conversion to make it a more interesting game. But they decided to go for the onside kick, and they got it. They got the onside kick.
Or did they?
But they didn't.
Ah.
Because they threw a flag, illegal formation. Now, the rule states that you cannot have, 5 people on one side of the ball. You have to make it even. So it's kind of it's just a tough scenario. I wish they would have not called that flag.
I think it was J.D. McKissick because he was the only guy that scored a touchdown that game. So
Then that would be correct.
he scored 1 receiving and 1 rushing. So, I mean, pretty good night for him, but even a better night for Antonio Gibson, who was my breakout player last week. My breakout player of the week was Antonio Gibson, and he had 140 yards.
Wow.
And I was whoop whoop. Then again, he was probably the 5th best running back this week, so who really cares? Anyways, next thing we have Ezekiel Elliott is expected to have a serious load. Specific words from Jerry Jones. So Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, you've definitely seen both Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott getting those carries and getting the work for the Cowboys.
Definitely.
You think that kind of switches up this game, or do you think it's still going to remain kind of a split?
No, I mean, they've gone with the split kind of stuff all season. Why would they want to change it now? It's been working. I mean, some games it's been kind of less than others, but I mean, you have 2 running backs that have over 500 yards each.
Yeah.
So how could you not do the split?
Yeah, I mean, it's good and all, but we all know Zeke is a little bit better than Tony.
He is, definitely,
so,
yeah.
We can see, I feel like seeing Jerry Jones saying that Ezekiel Elliott is going to have a serious load, and especially with an interim head coach, he's going to want to stick with the players that he knows are going to get those points out there, who are going to get those first downs. That's Ezekiel Elliott. Tony Pollard is a big play guy, but I don't think you see him used as much as when Mike McCarthy is the head coach. I think that's also a big thing you have to think of. You're going to want to go to those star players. So I think that's going to give them the best chance to succeed, and I think that's kind of what they're going to end up doing.
Yeah, and with Amari Cooper out,
yeah, it's going to be a lot more run game.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, then again, we have seen them throw the ball still, and they have Dak Prescott. So
I mean, we won with our backup quarterback against the Vikings.
Cooper Rush,
Cooper Rush.
I don't know how he did it.
I don't know how he did it.
Better than Tom Brady. But skipping around a little bit here, we previously had mentioned the Seahawks. I forgot to mention DK Metcalf, non-existent. He has not been a big part of the Seattle Seahawks basically the entire season. I mean, his stat line throughout the year is not good. He has not been as expected. You know, everyone came into the season expecting him to be, you know, some amazing player.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's gotten, you know, good points. He's gotten 8 touchdowns on the year, which, you know, through week what is this, 12?
12, yeah.
Is pretty good. But whenever you're talking about somebody who you expect to like carry a franchise, like people heading into this year thought he could have been like a top 5 wide receiver.
But he has not shown
He's
much.
not that good.
No.
So while he does make some big plays, he really hasn't been, you know, that insane. Like, I mean, look at these past few weeks. He had 1 reception for 13 yards last week. The week before, he had 4 receptions for 31 yards. He had 3 for 26 the week before, 6 for 43 the week before. So, I mean, do you really see superstar wide receiver right there?
If you look at other wide receivers that have the most reception yards right now, it's kind of just like...
Yeah, you look at... Because you have, like, what, 5 guys that are over 1,000 yards already?
Yeah. And he's sitting here with... Like,
he's at 650. He's at 650 on the year when you're seeing these other guys at 1,000. And you're trying to call him a top 5? Well, no.
If you got him in fantasy right now, I feel for you. I feel so bad. I'm sorry. I mean, I thought DK was going to do really good.
I was about to draft him in the first round, but ended up with a guy named Joe Mixon who's been doing something.
The problem could be Russell Wilson was out 8 weeks with a finger injury.
The thing is that he seemingly did better without Russell Wilson than with him this season. His first 2 weeks, he had 60 yards and 53 yards. And then he had a pretty big game, 107 yards, and then 65 yards. So, again, those games weren't bad. But then you get on into this week. After he came back, he's at 26, 31, 13. And it's not what you want. Whenever you have that connection, you're supposed to have, it's a great connection, quarterback, wide receiver. You need to be seeing a lot more than that.
Yeah, definitely.
But either way, next person we got here, Taysom Hill, is playing as the starter for New Orleans.
Oh, no.
Little bit surprise here.
No.
Do you see the Cowboys losing this game by about 50 points? I think yes, we do, and I think she agrees.
Okay, so, I mean, he's good. He's good. I've never seen him as a starting quarterback, though. I've always seen him more as like a run threat or a...
What I do see in Taysom Hill is someone who's slot him in here and he can play for one game.
Yeah, he's like Marcus Mariota on the Raiders.
So, I feel like that. Well,
it's like
a little bit different because you see Taysom Hill, he can be used in so many different ways. When you're looking at this, Taysom Hill, he's a guy that you're not planning for. So whenever he does come in at quarterback, then you have to completely change, and so that could throw him off by kind of popping this up kind of last second. It's more of a thing that New Orleans is trying to throw off the Cowboys with. They're like, oh hey, we're throwing Taysom Hill in here. We're not going to throw the ball. That's what they're saying here. They're saying we're not throwing the ball.
Yeah, because you're looking at it. You're looking at it like, well, how much film is there on Taysom Hill?
There's a little bit.
Him starting quarterback.
There's like none. There's last season.
So they are trying to throw off the Cowboys, and I do give them props for that because that could be a big factor in that game.
Mm-hmm. I definitely see that, and especially you want to run the ball whenever you have a guy like Trayvon Diggs on the other team.
Yeah.
Although then again, there's what we saw last week. And so maybe it is a good idea just for Taysom Hill to chuck it deep a couple times.
Yeah, he does go for Trayvon Diggs goes for the interception. And
he does.
That's literally why he gets so many people running all over him. But
yeah, and that is a problem, especially when it comes to a running team. Whenever you have a guy like that, you don't want to commit turnovers. So a good thing to do is to run the ball nonstop. So whenever you put in Taysom Hill, you're signifying, hey, we're not throwing this thing.
Yeah,
we're running it. I think we're gonna have 10 passing plays all game. But
yeah,
that's kind of the New Orleans play style right now. They don't have any wide receivers. They don't even have a quarterback. What are they gonna do? Nothing. So next player here, we have a few great running back performances here. Never mind Antonio Gibson. We had Mr. Joe Mixon run 28 times for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. He absolutely demolished that game.
Yeah.
He put up quite a few fantasy points for my fantasy team. So I mean, I just love the guy. You know.
I mean, you got saved in fantasy. You chose this guy, and it just.
I won by 98.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's like a blessing pick.
I mean, yeah, it's like that was also my first round pick, so.
Yeah. Okay.
And my second round pick was Clyde, so we all know how that's gone. Yeah, but yeah, Joe Mixon, he really showed off his workhorse and load, and that he can take anything you throw at him. Yeah. Joe Mixon, he is going to be good for the rest of the season. I don't see him, he's not going to change this pace. Well, obviously he's not going for 28 rushes, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns next game. Maybe. He is playing the Chargers, actually.
We'll see.
He is playing the Chargers.
He is playing the Chargers.
So, most likely, possibly, he's not going for the same amount. But Joe Mixon, he's going to continue getting the workload, and he's going to continue getting 100-yard games, 1-touchdown games. This isn't something, that should really stick out that much, although I think it's kind of the start of people realizing, oh, this is a top 10 running back, top 5 running back even.
Yeah.
He is talented. Talking about other talented running backs, though, Leonard Fournette, 17 rushes, not as many, 100 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Not only that, he had 7 receptions for 31 yards and a receiving touchdown.
Wow.
Tell me about a stat line. He
Wow.
helped me win in fantasy also. I had both Joe Mixon and Leonard Fournette, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah. I see why you won by so much now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about those reception yards. I didn't even know he could do that.
Well, you see, Leonard Fournette is a guy that most people look at and they're like, oh yeah, he's Leonard Fournette, he's got to be a good runner. Well, when I've seen him, because I've drafted him in fantasy 3 straight years, which, I mean, I hate myself for it, but I have. Last couple of years, he hasn't been great, but he has always been a guy that can get you those receptions, those receiving yards. He's not a guy that you're looking at and he's like, I don't really want to throw to him. He's a guy that you can put there on, 3rd down whenever you need him. Yeah. And you're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I can throw it to him. He's a safe guy. And he's definitely got that rapport with Tom Brady now that he's feeling comfortable with throwing that to him. So seeing the 7 receptions, and he's gotten quite a few receptions over the last couple weeks. He's getting consistent targets. He's getting consistent carries. He's the number 1 running back in Tampa Bay, and it's not even close at this point.
And I think Tom is really starting to trust him a lot more with the receiving yards. So I think he'll probably get more targets as the season goes on.
Yeah, and one of my hot takes before the season was that Leonard Fournette would massively overtake Ronald Jones. I told my brother about this, Connor Thomas, remember, original co-host of the Fantasy Brothers podcast, which started this whole thing. Before the season, I talked to him about this, that Leonard Fournette, he wasn't going to start the season as, the clear-cut guy, but the playoffs last year put him in a position that he's definitely the starter, and that the more you play him, the more you're going to realize that he is certified, a workhorse guy, and at this point, I think this is the turning point. He is now that certified guy.
Definitely.
So, good for him, but another guy that is good for, I happen to have him in fantasy also, Eli Mitchell.
You have all these guys.
I had all 3 of them starting in fantasy football, and I was also playing the worst team in my league.
Wow.
So yeah, won by 98. Pretty nice for me. Now, I will give you this. The guy that's last place, he does set his lineup every week, and he does make changes to his team.
Okay.
So it's not like one of those, he doesn't set his lineup. It's a real win.
Wow.
And I won by 98. Anyway, Eli Mitchell rushed 27 times for 133 yards and a touchdown. Now, do you think this is because of Debo's injury?
Man, I do not. I don't think so. I think he's just doing really good. I don't think it's because of anything. I just think he's good.
You think he's a good player?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I would like to agree with you there. You see, Eli Mitchell, he's been getting tons of carries. I think, what was it, last week or something, 2 weeks ago, he got like 30 rushes for like, I want to say 91 yards.
And that's not too bad, but
91 yards isn't bad, but when you're looking at 30 rushes, it's like,
yeah.
But I think that certified him, again, he's the workhorse. He's the workhorse for the Niners now. You look at these teams and you're looking at these running backs, and, when you get to the end of the season, you see more and more guys that are certified, the number one running back, more certified the number one receiver. That's never certified until the end of the season. We're getting to that point now that you see these guys and it's like, okay, that's the guy. That's the guy.
Yep.
That's the guy. And Eli Mitchell is that guy for San Francisco. They have him and Deebo Samuel, who they're going to be able to, swap out between in the backfield, and then Deebo can head out to wide receiver where he naturally plays. And you're going to be able to, that offense is going to look a lot better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Definitely.
Wait, no. It's going to look about as good as Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
you need his head right here.
Oh yeah,
just Jimmy G.
Oh my gosh,
Jimmy
that'd
G.
be so hot. That'd be so hot. Just decapitate him, put it right here.
Jeez. Just need like a skull, like one of those fake foam heads.
One of those fake foam heads, and then like paint on it, like as sexy of a face as I could think. Anyways, talking about not sexy lineups and stat lines, the Panthers.
Oh
man, the Panthers.
A garbage can. Oh man. Cam Newton's out. Cam Newton should not play. He's done. I would disagree with you there. The Miami Dolphins threw the exact same thing they threw at Lamar Jackson. Are you saying Lamar Jackson shouldn't be a quarterback? No, you're not. He did basically as well as Lamar did when Miami played him. He sucked. Both of them sucked. Cam Newton is still a good guy. I think he's going to work well for Carolina. I mean, they play in Charlotte, so I guess that's right. Yeah.
But he sucked. He had 5 completions on 21 attempts, 92 yards, 2 picks, and only 1 rushing touchdown. P.J. Walker then came in relief for him, threw 5 completions on 10 attempts, so not bad, 87 yards, but he also threw a pick and did not get a touchdown. So, I mean, overall, that quarterback situation, ugh. Yeah,
that whole game was just wild. I mean,
that whole game was Miami.
Yep.
That was Miami.
Who's Carolina?
Who
is Carolina?
That is why I love Brian Flores, best coach in the NFL. I love the guy. Favorite coach in the NFL. So yeah, Brian Flores. It was really a defensive game though. It was the Miami defense.
It was.
They had 3 interceptions. Xavier Howard, Javon Holland, and Nick Needham, and then they had 5 sacks. 1 from Christian Wilkins, 1 from Emmanuel Ogbah, and then 3 from Jalen Phillips, the rookie. Now, I mean, if you're talking about a good defensive performance, that is one for the ages right there. I mean, you're also looking at that Baltimore game.
Yeah.
And this Miami defense is back to what it was last year. I mean, you looked at it last year, and they were a good defense. They weren't really great at the beginning of this year, but they're picking it back up, and they're getting back in that position, and they're still young. So they're only going to get better over this year and, next year, 2 years from now. Because, I mean, Jalen Phillips, rookie. Javon Holland, rookie. Xavier Howard just signed a massive extension. Nick Needham, I think, is going to be a free agent. Emmanuel Ogbah,
Looking at the Miami defense right now, I would be very intimidated.
I would too.
I would not want to play Miami defense. I mean, now their offense, it could use a little work, but
Tua and Jalen Waddle looked amazing last game.
They did.
Jalen Waddle had like 9 receptions for 133 yards and a touchdown or something. It was great performance.
I think
Tua didn't look bad. I can't say I know his exact stat line right now.
I don't know his exact stat. I know it was kind of good though.
Yeah, let's look it up real quick. The Miami Dolphins game real quick. They played Carolina, yep. And Tua Tagovailoa ended up having 230 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. 27 for 31 completion percentage.
Wow.
Though.
30 plus pass attempts.
30 plus pass attempts.
That's crazy.
No picks, he only missed 4. 4 incompletions to 27 completions, so that's a good ratio
That
right
is
there.
very good. It says right here it's 87%.
Whew.
Which is crazy.
That is hot.
That is crazy.
That is not missing a beat against Carolina's defense, which, missing a bunch of players.
It's kind of, it balances out.
Yeah, but now New York Jets won?
There's no such thing. What do you mean?
The New York Jets beat the Houston Texans.
Wild.
Zach Wilson came back in this game, and you were looking at him, and you're like, and he sucked again.
21-14.
They still won, though. Zach Wilson sucked. I don't understand this. Zach Wilson, 14 for 24, 145 passing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, and 1 pick. How do you win with a stat line like that at your starting quarterback?
Wow.
145 yards.
I have no words. I have no words. It's just the Jets.
It's the Jets and the Texans.
Yep. It's toss-up.
2 terrible teams playing against each other. What can you hate more? Next game here, we got the Rams. Odell Beckham Jr. came in, 5 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown. He is back, or is he?
I'm not really seeing much from him. I mean, he could do way better than that.
I'm not saying that he couldn't, but do you think that that's going to get better throughout the season as he gets more of a rapport with Matthew Stafford?
Maybe. I mean, it's hard to tell right now. It's just he's such a crybaby in my opinion. I don't really like Odell. I mean, with all of his drama,
you'd be surprised that he's not on the Steelers.
I know. I think he could do better.
I definitely feel like him and Antonio Brown would be good friends. Finally here, though, we have Lamar Jackson. 4 interceptions.
And they won.
The game. And they won.
They won. They won.
What is it with these teams and throwing all these interceptions and then winning?
I don't
at least having bad quarterback performances. The Panthers were hoping that would happen, but it didn't. Lamar Jackson was 20 for 32, which isn't that bad, but only threw for 165 yards and had 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. The rushing game didn't look as great for him either. 17 for 68. Wasn't even averaging 4 a carry. Ugh.
That's a little...
Whenever you're looking at an explosive quarterback, Lamar, who usually averages, insane numbers of rushing yards, he was stuffed that game. He had less than 250 combined yards between his rushing and passing ability, and not a great game from him.
It's an off week. It's an off week for him.
You think he's going to come back and perform better? I mean, he's had 2 weeks like that in the last 3 weeks.
That is true, but I mean, with Lamar, it's just Lamar, man.
It is Lamar. Do you think teams have figured him out?
I mean, they said that about the Chiefs. They said that about Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes didn't solely rely on the run, though.
That is true. But, I mean...
And they didn't do one thing over and over again, where the Ravens, they run the ball, they check it down, and they run PA. That's all they do. That's the 3 steps. If you can guard those 3, then you're done. The Chiefs didn't just do that. The Chiefs had a slow start.
They did.
They had turnovers. They had miscues. It wasn't teams had figured it out. You look at the Chiefs, and they threw it deep. They threw it to the middle. They had the run game occasionally whenever Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't fumble the ball. Yeah. And you also had, Kelsey, who's always there. You can do so many different things with that offense that it wasn't that teams had figured it out. It was just that. I think maybe Ravens are starting to get a little figured out here. I think maybe you see, Lamar Jackson not as, top 5 quarterback in the league anymore. I think maybe he falls down.
That is a tough.
Who's your top 5 quarterbacks?
Oh man. Okay.
Mahomes?
I'll say Mahomes. He's pretty solid.
Okay.
I'll go Lamar.
You're putting Lamar up there.
I have to put Lamar in there. This isn't in any certain order.
Okay.
Okay, I have to say Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott, yep. I would
Top
agree.
5 quarterbacks of all time? Or
No, just right now.
Okay,
Obviously not Lamar.
I'm going to say Mac Jones. I have to say Mac Jones. He's just good.
Thanks for watching the Full of Football podcast. Peace.
Just wait for the next one.
Oh my gosh, no, it's gonna get worse?
No.
Oh, okay.
It can't get much worse than Mac Jones.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, we're gonna go with Justin Herbert too. I haven't pulled it up
Oh my
on
gosh.
my screen right now.
How can you think Mac Jones is better than Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers is the only reason the Packers have won games.
Yeah, I'll put Aaron Rodgers in there.
So you have 6 players in your top 5?
Yeah, I do. I could do more. I'll do more. If you want me to say Tom Brady, I will say Tom Brady.
So my top 5 quarterbacks, Mahomes.
Okay.
Ooh, Jarrett Stidham's a good pick. No,
I want to add Kyle Murray.
You have 7 in your top 5
7.
now. Oh wow, we're great at math. I have Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott. Kyler Murray has shown some great talent. And then, do I put Tom Brady up there? No, I don't. Who else do I put up there? Stafford is pretty good, but who's really the greatest quarterback? Nathan Peterman, number 5. You don't know who Nathan Peterman is?
No.
Do you watch football? Oh my gosh, Nathan Peterman record. Look up Nathan Peterman record, and you'll see. Touchdowns to interceptions 3-12, completion percentage 52.6, passer rating 34. So good.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
That is amazing.
He threw 5 picks in one game.
Oh my god.
Actually, how many pick sixes has Nathan Peterman thrown? Peterman has 3 pick sixes and 3 touchdown passes.
Is he a backup quarterback right now?
I think so. I think he's on the Raiders. Yeah, he's third. He's third place on the Raiders. So yeah, I mean, he's been really great. 13 interceptions on 133 attempts. That's a pick every 10 throws.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
With somebody threw 8 interceptions in 1950. Oh my goodness.
What? Who was it?
And it was Nathan.
It was Nathan
Jim Hardy.
Jim
Hardy. Greatest. Okay, you know what? Nathan Peterman, I'm sorry, but Jim Hardy. Whew. But yeah, my 5th quarterback. I mean, this is a toughie. Not Mac Jones. Not Mac Jones. I can't choose Mac Jones. Top 10 NFL quarterback. Okay, I could put Matthew Stafford up there though.
Oh, don't even.
I'm not gonna say Russell Wilson. Matthew Stafford could put him up there.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is retired. Bruce Arians is a good quarterback.
Definitely.
NFL's top 10 quarterbacks. Let's see this one. Matt Ryan's so good. No, I think Matthew Stafford is definitely a guy that I would put up there. If not somebody else.
Big Ben.
Oh, Josh Allen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
I forgot about Josh Allen.
That's easy pick. Anyway, that's going to close out our new news segment, so let's get on into our breakouts of the week.